Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Susanna, January 19th. There are a couple of toddlers awake in the house right now, so this might be a little disruptive. I'm going to go as quickly as I can. Today's question comes from Sarah Pemberton, who asks about her 8-month-old. She says that the last few hours in the morning, he'll sleep pretty well until about 5 a.m., and then it's very restless after that. His bedtime is around 7, he sleeps till 10:30, has a feed, goes down until 2. And then she tells me about his naps a little. He naps 2 to 3 times a day and is usually awake for about 2 hours in between. He naps anywhere between 40 minutes. I try to put him back, but sometimes he won't go down. And 2 hours, which has made getting him down at specific times kind of tricky, so we're on this 2 hours up, then a nap system. He has a pacifier that he only uses to help him sleep. We suspected that he was suckling for comfort. And it's usually dropping that or rolling onto his front that causes him the most distress. Generally, when he wakes up, we'll give him the pacifier and roll him back onto his back. Sometimes that's enough, usually overnight, but by early morning it seems to hold only for a short while. Okay, so for the pacifier, there's sort of 2 different streams of thought around pacifiers and sleep. The first is to take it away from him and get him used to sleeping without a pacifier. This is a type of sleep training. It can be really effective to help him sleep through the night, to not need you to come in to help him get the soother back in his mouth. However, it can really suck. So you may want to go the other direction, which is just to let him keep his soother, and you are going to have to keep putting it back in his mouth. To keep that part down, you can help him learn how to put it back in his mouth on his own through play in the daytime. And when he's in bed at night, put a handful of soothers in his mouth, let him know they're there, and reinforce that he's to put it in his mouth when you go in to visit him at night, if you can. As for rolling over, again, in the daytime, you can try and teach him to roll back onto his back. So if he finds it disorienting and upsetting, if he knows how to roll back, it won't be. If you're swaddling him, you should stop swaddling him now. And you might want to get him into a sleep sack that has a sort of a binding quality to it. There's one called Zippity Dip that you might like. It sort of helps transition between swaddles and loose sacks. And it's okay to let him sleep on his tummy if he's rolled over that way, as long as he's not in a swaddle and as long as he's not upset. But always put him back down to sleep on his back. And typically, just know that typically this rolling over and disrupting sleep period in a baby's life is usually a very short phase. So sometimes you just gotta ride it out. There's not a whole lot you can do. And speaking of short-lived phases, let's talk about the Wonder Weeks. Because at 8 months, your child is entering leap 6, the week of categories, that leap. You'll notice him really investigating things, various items and objects, checking out their size and their texture. He's putting everything together. And this is the period when babies usually start to experiment with crawling, so it's a big physical development period, which you're going to see affecting nighttime too, because it can be really exciting that you can move your body and you just want to do it. Like, you just learned how to wiggle across the floor. I want to learn to wiggle across my crib. I don't want to sleep. Let's do some wiggling. So that can affect sleep. And again, it will pass. And it will pass around 37.5 weeks after his due date. So keep in mind that as well. I highly recommend checking out the Wonder Weeks if you haven't already looked into that. As for early mornings, the reason you're seeing this is because his sleep pressure is wearing off by the end of the night. Sleep pressure is a fancy word for being tired. At the beginning of the night, we're very tired. By the end of the night, we're not so tired. We've slept off our tiredness. However, it's not a lost cause. You don't have to accept these wake-ups. His perkiness is caused by cortisol, which is a stimulating hormone that everyone gets a jolt of cortisol in the morning to help us wake up if we're sleeping according to our natural cycles. But the time of when we wake up and the timing of that cortisol release is actually caused by our circadian rhythm, which is a natural biological rhythm, and the time is set by the first light that our eyes are exposed to in the morning. So, to keep him from waking up, make sure you keep your home in nighttime mode until it's officially morning time, 6:37. You might have to find kind of a middle ground there for him and adjust things slowly. But night mode until then. And I actually talk a lot about this in the very first Ask Susanna video, which is really long. You can go start it at 6 minutes. That's when I start talking about it. So if you want to check out some more there, you can scroll back through my posts to find that video. As for naps, excellent job on trying to get him back down again when he wakes up after a short nap. Keep at it. But you might want to keep in mind that if he wakes up perky and ready to go for the day or the afternoon or whatever, the chances that he'll go back down to sleep are really slim, because he's woken up perky because he's feeling good. So you might want to just accept that he's woken up. But if he wakes up upset or showing any kinds of signs of tiredness, keep at it. You might be able to get him to go back down. And as for what you're doing there to improvise with these sort of short and long naps, the 2-hour system sounds pretty good. It's irregular, which isn't ideal, but as long as you're watching him and putting him down when he looks like he's getting tired, and he's going down easily when you put him down for his naps, then you're doing good job. It means you're not letting him get overtired, which is like the first rule of baby sleep. Don't let them get overtired. And as he develops, gets a little older, you should see him drop that third nap, and his two other naps should start to consolidate into good chunks. And you're going to support that through helping him get back to sleep. So do your best to be consistent. Keep watching him, his signs. The clock is more of a guide, but his body is the true guide. And that's it. I hope that's been helpful. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.